Okay. Well, happy Monday night. We are so excited to be joined by Musa Nxumalo, who does a ton of fascinating work in the area of coaching executives on expanding our minds. And we spoke the other day about his work, particularly in an area that he terms cross-pollination. And so we've got a really dynamic class ahead with some workshops and great overview. So I am so grateful to you, Musa, for joining us. At what time is it right now in South Africa?
It's just after 1 a.m.
Oh gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us live. So I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay. All right, sure. Thank you so much for inviting me to this experience. It is quite an experience for me. So yeah, I'm very excited, very grateful for this. And let's make this next 60 minutes count for everyone. All right. So let me just first do an intro of who I am, what kind of work I do, and how did I get to connect with you guys. Let me go to slideshow. Slideshow mode should be better from here. Just a bit of background and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay. Like I said, my name is Musa Nxumalo. I'm connecting with you from South Africa, on the southeastern coast of the country. So that's about 600 kilometers from the main city center, Johannesburg. Some of you might know about gold mining in South Africa and all that stuff. So I'm like 600 kilometers away from there, more towards the coast. Okay. I run a company called Knowledge Connections. Knowledge Connections, we are just a bunch of coaches who call each other cross-pollinators, because that's the nature of the work that we do. Our work is about leadership capacity building. It's about entrepreneurship development and organizational culture design. I got introduced into corporate culture design back in 2017. I think that was my 4th year into coaching. And that's when I met Professor Sherwood in Thailand, in Bangkok. So we were doing a field immersion with an organization called Designing for Social Innovation and Leadership, which is led by 2 American ladies who are now based in Thailand. That's where we met, and over the years we stayed connected, and from time to time we do these types of sessions. And today is actually my 2nd chance to be with you guys. And for 1 second, when I was telling my son, he's 13 years old, why you guys invited me again, he said to me, there can only be 2 things. It's either the first time you were on, you did so bad, they're giving you a 2nd chance to fix things up, right? It could be that, or they liked you so much, you just have to keep getting better with this. Yeah, so I don't know what it is, but I hope it's somewhere in between. Yeah, so I don't want to take anything for granted, okay? So like I was saying, so the kind of work that I do, I work as a coach, as a facilitator, and then also I'm an author. So the stuff that I write about, it's mainly stuff that's inspired by what I see from nature. It's biomimicry, you know. So I use the analogies of bees. As you can see in our logo, there's a bee, a very happy bee there. So cross-pollination for us, it talks about a whole lot of things. And in this session today, I'm going to explain it, and we go into a lot of details, but the topic is about what cross-pollination teaches us about adaptation. You know, so why this topic? For me, when we had this discussion last week, preparing for this and trying to understand where you guys at, and I'm sure you're also going to tell me more as we go through into the session now, I got a sense that time and again, whether we're talking entrepreneurship or mainstream businesses and so on, there's always a shift in the parameters the rules of the game keep changing, or the players in the game keep changing. So as things change, we also have to change and adapt accordingly. But what if sometimes maybe the stuff that we need, or the tools that can enable us to adapt effectively with those changes, are not at our disposal? Or maybe we're not just equipped properly. What happens then? Does it mean we then just lose money and we leave things off just like that? Or should we now do these kind of cross-pollination exercises where we equip each other and challenge each other to say, here's how maybe you should approach it. Here's how you should adapt. Here's how you should continuously strive for excellence. So that's basically the starting point. And I'm going to just give you a taste of what to expect in this, how we've segmented this hour. The first part is, I just want to take a bit of time explaining a bit of theory about especially how the concept of cross-pollination applies to this instance. I'm going to talk about three things. The first one is intentions. The next one is how other players come into all of this. And then the last part is being fruitful. That's just on the theory part. And I'm hoping to take about, say, 10 minutes or so, just going through that part. And then from there, I want to open this up into a group discussion where all of us will get a chance to chat through breakout rooms. You get to discuss this amongst yourselves. And I've made it very, very simple without being simplistic. At first glance, it looks like, oh, wow, this is just straightforward stuff. But then when you really think about it, it's not. There's two diagrams. In those two diagrams, I'm asking just one simple question. What's wrong with this system? So there's two systems. What's wrong with this system and what's right with this system? So between the two systems, you guys will just have those discussions and see what kind of insights you can draw from there. And then when we come out of that, so that should take about 10 to 15 minutes, but Meg will guide us on what time allows us to do. Then we'll go into how we can draw from the insights that have emerged out of the group discussions, how we can then be able to plug that into whether it's your businesses or projects or whatever work you do at community level or back on campus, what kind of work you do there. And let's see how that can be threaded in to your daily activities. Because for as long as we talk about these things at a theoretical level and we leave it at that, it doesn't really help us. It only becomes helpful if you can be able to translate it into practical daily activities. And at the end, I would like us to just spend maybe a minute or two. I'll explain to you where am I getting all this information from. So that's my book. And I'll talk about the facilitation work I do and the coaching work that I do. And tell you who am I accredited with as a coach and how that is helping me with all the coaching work I do, either for organizations like corporates, small businesses, also academic institutions and so on, or the climate change work that I do with the Global Climate Change Coaching Alliance. Yeah. All right. So that is the structure of today. So before we carry on, I just want to check: is everyone happy with that flow? Are you guys okay with that? Bit of 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. Are you guys happy? I see some. In South Africa, we call it sharp sharp. When you okay, so yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Let's go into this first part here. So, like I said, when I started off the intro, the stuff that I'm going to share with you guys, it comes from the book that I wrote last year called "I'm a Cross-Pollinator." So this book came out this year, June, but I started doing the writing, the research, and all of that over the last 3 years, and consolidated everything around October this time last year, and it eventually came out this year in June. So my reference is the book "I'm a Cross-Pollinator." So the example of bees, it's stuff that I also observe in my backyard garden here. And my garden has been very active since lockdown. So it has helped me to see practically what is it that nature is teaching us about leadership, leadership behavior, and also in this case, as for our discussion today, the question of adaptation. All right. We'll start with this guy here. The bee comes to a flower with a single-minded intention to say, I'm just going out there. I want all the juicy stuff, and I also want all the powder. I'm going to collect as much of it as possible, and I'm going to move from one flower to another. And as I'm doing that, I know that I will leave some of it off in the other flowers that I'll visit during the day. And then later I'll go to our honeycomb where the queen bee is sitting, and I'll participate in this honey making process. And that's basically what produces what's happening to my slides now? Yeah, that's what produces the, the honey and the pollen that the bee is creating eventually leads to the flower being fertilized and the fruit starts germinating. I don't want to go too technical into that process because this is not a biology class, but it's more about what kind of leadership lessons we can learn as entrepreneurs or innovators and so on, so that we know what is it that we need to do in order for us to be able to adapt to changing situations all the time, right? The intentions, so here's what happens. As an entrepreneur, you will have your own set of intentions of deliberately, this is what I want to achieve in my business. So your intentions will be set well before you get started with the process of running the business. But as you enter into the business, then things change. You see that you thought because this is what your goal was, therefore this is what will follow, this is what will happen. But as you get in, the decisions that you make, the people that you come across, all of that influence the kind of processes that follow from there. So your intentions alone, they are not just the only factor that we need to consider. There's other factors that come into play. And therefore, we need to be able to ask ourselves, what are the assumptions that we make when we come up with these intentions? The intentions could, the quality of the goals or the decisions and so on, the first thing to consider is that quality is a function of how accurate is your information, how accurate is your research, your data that you've collected in order for you to say, this is what I intend to achieve, and this is what I'm hoping to gain as I get started. And also, this is how I intend to deal with all the threats, the opportunities, and whatever weak points that you might have, and so on. Now, you are in, but now once you are in, you're not going back, you stay in, but now you find there's other players in this whole process. All these other players may not necessarily be people who have the same goals like you. It's people who have all sorts of other goals, all sorts of agenda, all sorts of intentions, which might be different from yours. Some of them may not even be entrepreneurs. It could be people who are also maybe people who are competitors to you, suppliers, government agencies, politicians. There's so many. But also it could be even family who could, I'm not just talking in terms of other players as in people who stand in the way of your growth and development of the business, but I'm talking broadly. Both people who could influence what's happening in the business negatively or influence it positively. And we compare that with what your intentions were when coming in, and also your assumptions that all your decisions, all your inputs will not be influenced by any of these, or if it does get influenced, it will be minimal. But the reality is there's all these things that now take over, and we call them side effects. They're not really side effects. We call them side effects because the assumption was their influence was not to be as significant as it turns out to be when you are in the game, right? So I'll call it the game, in a way, because it is, yeah. So now their influence, when it now takes on significance, and these side effects they shift the whole thing across. How do you then stay on? How do you stay relevant? How do you stay motivated? How do you keep going? So now here's what we see here. The bees, they might belong to one colony and are driven by one goal and so on, but not all of them are playing the same role, are assigned the same duties by the queen, because we know the hierarchies and so on. So it's still an individual game, even though it looks like all of them are similar and so on. So we need to be able to differentiate between who is on your side and who is not, who's helping you and who's not helping you, and how are you responding to all of those as it happens. You being able to be fruitful in what you do is going to depend on a wide range of factors. It's not just one factor. Here in South Africa, we talk about if you've got good capital to start off your business, your chances of being successful are very high. And therefore, we think everyone who's starting out in business and has good capital to start off with, they have a better chance than everybody else. It turns out that actually capital may just play one part of it, but we're not able to quantify how much of it exactly, because we don't know what other factors might limit you or what other factors might accelerate your growth and development as a business. So fruitfulness is more than just one-sided view of things. Again, we need to look at the holistic picture and understand what are the factors that are obvious, what are the factors that are not obvious, right? What is apparent, what is not so apparent. And when we investigate, do we challenge ourselves to peel through the top layer, the second layer, and see more than what is obvious to us, and just be obsessed with finding out as much information about the system itself, the other players, and everything else that influences the growth and development of the business that we're starting. And also not just the outside factors, also looking at your own internal factors that would have an effect on how the whole thing turns out. You might find some businesses, they don't prosper, not because the playing field is not leveled in their favor, but because they stand in the way of the growth and development of their own businesses. So you might have to even challenge yourself, your own paradigm, your own thinking, and say, what if maybe I am standing in the way of the growth and development of my very own business, even though I'm the founder? So the people that work for the entity may not even have the guts to confront you and say, you are actually the problem. That's why this thing is not growing, So are we opening the space up for people to talk to us openly about anything, even if that thing includes them pointing out that we are the problem? Those are the kind of things. So the factors might be external, but also internal. We need to consider all of that and be humble enough to accept it when other people give us that kind of feedback. All right, so I'll stop there for now. Okay, and Meg, if you can assist us as we break out into the discussion rooms. Here are the two questions that I'd like us to discuss. I've kept it very simple and straightforward. Diagram 1, as you can see, it's these arrows here. Okay, diagram 1, it starts off with a bee at a particular season, and it approaches a plant. From there, the plant is in flower. So the bee will be playing around the whole thing of the anther and the stigma. So pollination happens between those two levels. and so on. So if the anthers are too high compared to the stigmas, this self-pollination would not happen. Therefore, there would be a need for cross-pollination. So going to another flower. And therefore, in that process, then we get the fruit. So from the bee, the flower, and then the fruit. So that is the pollen, which then facilitates the process of fertilization and so on. Now that is diagram 1. Diagram 2 looks a bit, not a bit, a whole lot different from diagram 1. Like I said, I've kept it very simple, but that's the trap, okay? Because even in business, we tend to complicate things, and things are supposed to be straightforward, but we're not aware how simple and straightforward it is. We complicate it. We said, no, it can't be this easy. There has to be something more to it than this, right? So again, it's the bee, the flower, the fruit, but then there's, as you can see, there's other parts that are not labeled, and there's parts that are outside that are labeled. The soil here, I've included weather. I've also included some pests that could be a problem to the fruit, right? So I would like us to go into these breakout rooms and see how far we can go just drawing insights out of these two and discuss it. Try and link it back to your lived experiences, whether it's stuff that you're studying on campus or stuff that you're experiencing in your own projects, whatever they might be, or stuff that you might have observed in any other experience that you might have been through. Yeah. Is that clear enough with everyone? Does it make sense?
So that I'd encourage you all to like take a screenshot of this image so you have it in front of you too to remember. Musa, there was a question in the chat thread.
Yeah.
And the question was, is fruitfulness similar to attitude?
Is fruitfulness
similar to attitude?
Similar to attitude. Attitude can enable fruitfulness, right? It's one of those behaviors that can enable you to be fruitful. But attitude could be anything. That you could have a bad attitude, a good attitude, and attitude it's dynamic, it shifts, it's situational, you know. So being fruitful, so you're talking about goals and achieving those goals and so on, or maybe just smashing them, achieving more than what your goals were. But what if the attitude that's required for you to get to that level of fruitfulness, you're riding this wave without the requisite attitude that can carry you to that level, you know? So we need to be able to gauge what our attitudes are. Are they setting us up for failure or for being fruitful? You know, I think that's how I think it should be. It should be so one feeds into the other. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Are there any? Oh, you're on mute, Meg.
I think we can go over to the rooms if that's okay with you, Musa. Okay.
All right,
great.
sure. I'm happy to join the rooms as well. I don't know who will be in the same room as me, but I won't do much talking. I just want to be there, you know, not as an invigilator, but just to observe and assist where I can. Yeah. But yeah, so it's 25 minutes into the hour. So maybe you can guide us. What time are we coming back?
Let's do 10 minutes and I'll
10
close
minutes
the
should
rooms.
be fine. Yeah. Okay. All right, sure. Thanks.
Well, fun to see you all coming back. Awesome.
Meg, my group did great, Meg. My group did great.
Good. Good. Well, I'm going to hand it back over to Musa. Maybe you might be willing to be a spokesperson for your group.
Oh, Meg, always putting me on the spot.
Okay. How many groups did we have? We were in group in room 6. So how many groups
We
did
had
we have?
11 rooms.
Wow. Okay, that's amazing. All right. So in terms of time, so that would give us a chance to have 1 minute for each group, right? 1 minute for each group. Is that fair enough? And then when we're done with that, then I'll consolidate and then hand over to you. Okay. All right. Let's do that then. Yeah, who wants to go first? Room 1 or group 1?
I didn't pay attention to which room number I was, but I can start with my group.
It's fine, yeah.
Okay. We all just kind of saw that the first system is linear and no path in life is linear. And that's exactly what is right with the diagram 2. Diagram 2 is a much bigger, broader, more holistic vision of the whole system. And it is a system because you can't have cross-pollination without those external factors. So, yeah.
Okay, no, thank you. Great point you've raised there. I like that part. No path in life is linear. So everything has a certain degree of complexity built into it, either built into it or complexity that emerges as the system starts rolling out. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the next group.
I think I could kick it off from my team. Yeah, bouncing off what Tara said, we also noted that it was almost like this linear system. It was a little bit unrealistic in the real world. But the second was almost kind of like an ecosystem. We had these internal and external factors that kind of bounce around and interact with each other. So that was just kind of what we noted about the first and second diagrams.
That's my teammate. That's my teammate. That's right.
All right. Okay, let's move on. I like your use of time, very precise, to the point, and then we can move on. Yeah, I'm noting the points. Just maybe for emphasis, I might have to repeat some of them, because at least you guys are not saying the same thing. For the benefit of everyone, I might have to repeat some of it. Yeah, but I like the idea. You're now coming up with the concept of ecosystem awareness, both for internal and external factors that influence the system. And therefore, if you are not ecosystem aware, you might be setting yourself up for failure if you only consider things as if they work in a linear kind of flow. All right, let's move on to the next group.
Hey, I'll take it over for my group. I don't remember what number we were, but we still had some conversation. So what we talked about with the first diagram is that the bees seemed really dependent on a lot of things happening just right. But in the second diagram, it was really nice because it kind of looked more balanced. Like even the bad things brought balance to what was happening, and it still opens up space for those things that you can't control and things that you can't, like things you can't anticipate coming,
Yeah. Okay, that's a great point. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. I will come back to this when I consolidate. There's a lot of stuff that is really, you have to accept that this is not within my control, right? And therefore, but it doesn't stop you from carrying on. Yeah, let's move on to the next group.
I can speak for us.
Yeah.
Our group noticed all of the things that the first three group noticed, and we also talked about how it's not just positive or negative effects, it's just a holistic view of this is what's happening in the exterior world, and this is what I can do to adapt to change to it. Just moving forward with that positivity and if something happens, you got to adapt and move forward to be able to.
Right. Okay. Great. Let's move on.
I could speak, like Helani said, if you have to be able to adapt and move around, because like for the first linear system, for example, with like COVID this year, if you would just stopped when that happened because your way forward was blocked, you wouldn't go anywhere. So you have to take another diversion path and really work around and find alternative routes and alternative ideas, like the second one really shows.
Yeah. Yep. I like that. Okay, let's move on. We're doing great, by the way. Time, content is great. I love it. Yeah.
I can jump in for our group really quick, kind of simply to answer the questions. We believe that the first system was really, and this is kind of reiterating, we saw that it was lacking sort of the external factors. And again, sort of to hit on this idea of like a linear set path. So kind of a narrow intention from the start, rather than sort of like creating a large path and sort of a map that allows for lateral movement.
Yeah. All right. So the intentions must be broad. You shouldn't narrow it down. So if you do, then you limit your possibilities and so on. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to the next group.
Yeah, I can hop in for our group. A lot of the same stuff that's kind of been said, but we're speaking again to sort of the attitude that you can go into that second, more realistic diagram with, as that seems to be more accurate to the business environment. And so, like, how do you look for opportunities to capitalize on when everyone else is stuck in the diagram one sort of functioning? And like that should create sort of a fruitful and positive result for your business or venture or whatever you've sought after.
Yeah. No, thank you. How many more do we still have? Who hasn't had a chance to speak? I've been making notes here, but I'm not keeping track of.
I can speak for my group.
Sure.
Yeah. So we kind of talked about for diagram one. We're hearing the word linear a lot, but we thought of it as kind of procedural. It kind of led you through from left to right. We talked about what systems or what that would apply for. That would be pretty good. And we kind of came up with, we kind of see the resemblance in this kind of structure in a business model or making a business plan. But when we got to diagram two, thinking about external factors, things that could go wrong, how other factors really pull on other factors. So them fitting together in this kind of honeycomb shape, how different things affect each other, gives kind of a more realistic view of, at least what we felt, the reality of what it's like to build a business or to really describe anything that has a lot of factors and moving parts. So.
Yeah. No, thanks, Liam. Let's. Who else do we have?
I can go. So
okay, sure.
We kind of talked about how the second diagram kind of relates to our venture. Like we said that you need to look at like everything instead of just like one issue in order to really make your product or your service or whatever you're creating better. So that's kind of what the diagram 2 kind of showed us.
All right. Okay. We're drawing towards a close, if I'm correct, right? Or how many more groups do we still have? That sounds like everyone so far. Meg, hello. Hello.
Sounds like it. Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. S.
All right. Okay. Let me.
Can I add something in?
Yes, please go for it. Sure.
First of all, really good to see you as always. It also occurs to me that, especially when I think about being someone who's trying to support entrepreneurs, innovators, change makers, as well as whether it be through education or coaching, that the first diagram assumes a static context, like everyone has the same exact context. Whereas the second one allows for variation in context. For example, a bee trying to travel through, a model, right? Do this, then do this, then do this. That seems really simple, yet when you start to add in, well, one bee might be doing it under conditions of good soil or bad soil, or great weather or bad weather, or low pests or high pests, that really impacts. So context matters. And as we try to help people learn how to do this and then try to apply it into the real world situation, we have to say, we have to meet them where they are, and we have to consider those different conditions. So that, because some people might start in conditions that are really, really difficult, and they may not have access to resources, they may not have access to networks, they may not have access to certain things. And so the situation is not equitable with someone else that may have that. And so how do we help them realize that, and then to address those things so they can be successful in whatever context they're in?
Yeah, yeah. No, thank you so much. That wraps it up very nicely, and it pulls almost all of these parts together. I love that. Thank you so much, guys. Actually, you've come up with more points than I had thought of, and so with every chance I get to present this type of material to people, there's always something new. That's why, like they say, the more I teach is the more I learn. That's why I love teaching. Yeah, so I'm excited about this. Thank you so much for not holding back. Let me just consolidate on the points that have come up without necessarily repeating on what you guys have said already, because it's now, that part is done. But I just want to add something here that that I think also we need to bring into this conversation. Just give me one second. I just want to, yeah. So there's this whole thing of a straight line, right? So a straight line moving from left to right. It's very misleading. And when we think that life works like that, some of you did mention this. I like it because not just one group, but a lot of groups pick that up, that there is no system in life, whether we're talking business or any other area of life, that moves just from left to right in a straight line, in a sequential kind of flow. There isn't. But because we think things should move from left to right, from A to B, from sunset to sunrise, those kind of things, those are the types of thinking that set us up for failure, you know. And because of such, that's why we may not be effective in what we do. So before I go back to this, let me just quickly go to the honeycomb that you see in diagram 2. The honeycomb acknowledges the fact that there will always be blind spots. There will always be unknowns. There will always be external factors, and there will always be room for you to add other factors, other pieces to this whole thing, and make a much bigger honeycomb than what you see here. Also, so there will always be that dynamism that you can build into this that enables you to be effective. But let me just go back to this, which is something that you won't find in a straight line here. The straight line, guys, here's what happens. I think it's the same people who think in terms of the earth is round. How can I draw a round earth here? I don't want to draw a circle. No, I can't. Let me just erase that before I embarrass myself. I wanted to draw a circle and compare the circle to a straight line. If you take, for instance, a very small piece of a circle, like the globe, the planet Earth, if you draw, just take from the circumference of the circle, it would look like a straight line. But when you zoom it out and you see the whole thing, then you actually see that the straight line was not even a straight line to begin with. It only looks like a straight line because you're too close to it, okay? So when people say it's a straight line, they're actually talking about maybe things like how close you are, or maybe how much sentimental value you hold to your business venture. And therefore, you're unable to see things that you should be able to see. The straight line makes you think things are just straightforward, easy, and therefore your levels of disappointment when things don't work out are very high because of how high your expectations were. And in reality, when things don't turn out to be as easy as you had expected, therefore, that's when you get to a level where you're very much disappointed. So to save yourself from disappointment, start looking at things from a big picture type of thinking. Instead of saying the earth is flat, understand that the earth is round. And because it's round, therefore, your levels of bias or your levels of being blinded by the realities that could be in your face, they are minimized, you know. So if you don't believe what I'm talking about, just when you get home, take a balloon. Oh, well, you are at home. So I'm just assuming you are all on campus. Take a balloon, fill it up with air, and draw a line and see what that line looks like when the balloon is inflated and what that line looks like when the balloon is just lying flat, you know, but it's still the same line. So when you're able to see the circular structures like this, that's what gives you power and freedom to choose and the ability to make changes and innovation. Basically, yeah, that's what I had for you guys today. Thank you very much. Let me move on to the last few minutes of our discussion, and then I'll hand over to Meg just now. Okay, what's going on now? Oh, okay, I need to clear this. All right, let's get out of here. Okay, this, I just wanted to, the last piece of the screen gives details about where am I taking all of this from, and what can you, how can you access it if you want that. Yeah, what's happening with my, it's not taking me through to the last slide. But anyway, let me stop share and I'll just share, I'll just go back to the main screen. Okay. All right. Okay. So like I said earlier on, most of what I'm talking about here is presented in the form of a story in this book. I'm a cross-pollinator. So I wrote this last year. It was published this year, mid-year during lockdown. But I tell this in a form of, it's not just about biomimicry type of stuff. It's told in a way that also tells stories about other factors that would have a direct influence on your success in business and other spheres of your life. It talks about love, relationships, it talks about race issues, it talks about identity issues, about culture, all those things. Because all of that are factors that you cannot just choose to live out of whatever it is that you're doing. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're an academic, whatever field of persuasion that you might be in, issues about race, identity, culture, history, and all of that, they're major factors to what will make your business to be a success or not. So therefore, when I present these discussions, I make sure I never exclude that part, because it's very important for us to be honest about these discussions and help each other where we can, so that we can be able to discuss and to talk from a power position and enable each other to be successful in what we do. Yeah, so that's it for me. Thank you very much. If you want the book, it's available on Amazon, and it would be great if you can connect on Facebook and also on LinkedIn. My name is Musa Nxumalo, as you can see on the screen. So on LinkedIn, yeah, you can find me. And yeah, let's see how else can we continue with this discussion today. But I'm very happy with everything that happened. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
So let's all, you'll have a little bit more detail to share in when we send attendance around, but let's all throw in the chat thread one word or phrase that really jumped out to you today. And we'll have time for a couple of burning questions after that. So one or a few words that jumped out to you today in your time with one another, time with Musa. Right in that chat.
Okay. I see a lot of thank yous. Yeah, biomimicry. Yeah, holistic, external factors, ecosystem awareness. Yes, yes, I love that. Pollinate. Yeah, yeah. Expectations, adaptation, fruitfulness, cross-pollinate. Yeah. Thank you so much, guys. I'm excited about this. Yeah, being mindful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Adaptation, internal and external factors. Yeah, yeah. No, sure. This has been an amazing experience. Thank you so much. Thank you. Yeah. All right. We can carry on this discussion on social media. I'm available for that.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds
Thank you.
great. Thank you.
Yeah.
This was fantastic. I hope you have just a fantastic rest of your day. Any other, Dr. S, do you have anything you want to close us with too? Musa, this was such a gift to have you come and share with
Thank
our
you.
team.
Yeah.
Really unique concepts. And I hear that bee tattoos are up significantly. I'm not kidding. The number of bee
Sorry?
tattoos are up significantly, right on trend.
Oh, is it? Yeah, I didn't know that. Well, I know nothing about tattoos, actually.
You're gonna have to get yourself a bee tattoo, Musa.
Yeah, imagine that. Yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, that would be.
Come visit you in South Africa.
Please, you're more than welcome. You've got a home here, you know. Yeah. And I'd love to come and visit you guys that side as well. And yeah. Yeah. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah. All right. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Thank
This
you.
is great.
Bye.